If I look at the show, Decade of Seeing, I can see how these projects came together and speak the same language. Me growing up in South Africa as a South African, love nature and animals as well, and the natural realm I want to portray or convey as this pastoral feel, this paintingly feel. There's a quagga, there's Nguni cattle, there's Xhosa cattle, there's dogs, there's a mule, there's a man holding a donkey. My photographs is inspired by paintings. I spent time on doing the prints. The palette must be correct, the colors must work together. And I think our country is very diverse, very interesting, various cultures. And these animals and these landscapes, if you put them together, they really express this colorful country we have. Decade of Seeing runs over a period of 10 years, where the first series started in 2007, where I portrayed a series of dog portraits, Afrikaner dogs in South Africa. That project formed into a larger series called Animal Farm that ended in 2012, where I published the book. Then the second series is Sightings of the Sacred, where I wanted to focus on one type of animal, that was cattle. I traveled to Uganda in 2012. 2013 I went to Madagascar and in India for my last chapter. Then after that I was fortunate enough to do a book, Cattle of the Ages, together with the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. I received an email while lying like a normal person in my bed at home, and I got the mail, and he said that now he saw my Ankole photographs in the newspaper and he wanted to know if I still have that and can we connect. And I was melting, you know. I thought, geez, what is this? This is a joke. The idea was not to do a book at the first. The idea was to take photographs. And I think through the process, he got excited and said, listen, we have to do a book. And I said, we must do a book, because this is once in a lifetime that Ankole cattle is introduced into South Africa. And so it developed, he wrote a story, and it came together with my photographs, and it was an unbelievable process, yeah. I was always interested in photography. I did a short photographic course after school, and then I went overseas to work. Took a lot of photographs, but wasn't focused on art. That wasn't my thing, but I always looked at Jeff Wall's work, Richard Avedon, David Goldblatt's work. And so I studied arts at the University of Stellenbosch, honours degree, and in the course I got my Hasselblad. And so I worked and started with the dogs and really got inspired by lots of artists, South African artists, and so it just evolves. Approaching these animals, dogs, mules, cattle, the animal needs to allow you in his presence. So it takes time. I remember there was one dog that it took me up to 4 hours to kind of accept me. It just gave me half a split second. It's an intense focus, and that kind of, for me, that gives me that ecstasy to have this still moment that's difficult to do. Crossbred dogs was, for me, an interesting thing. It was a thing that I wouldn't say rebel against the system. That's not like a Labrador behind a fence, but a new South African person or species with a spirit that expresses himself, that goes where he wants to, that kind of eats what he wants to eat. And I would say this dog series was the start of my work. So immediately my work went into a direction of doing the Nguni cattle. That's kind of indigenous from the Zulu culture, the Xhosa cattle on the beach. You know, all these animals were standing as a symbol of our country. It's nice to juxtapose these animals and see the indigenous and the South African feel behind it. If you look at my works, I mentioned the date, the day as well, the month and the day. It gives life to that animal, that this animal was portrayed on this day. I feel it gives more meaning to it. that it was alive and paused for that moment. And is it still alive, yes or no? No one knows, but it gives it more personality. I wanted to portray the cattle from right up in front, with the ocean at the back and also the sand in the foreground. It imitates the same formula that I developed with portraying the dog series. The prophecy was said that if all cattle would be killed, the ancestors will bring new cattle from the sea. And for me, that lingered in my mind. I would say the most lovable work exhibited for this show is the group of Ankoles. If you look at the image, there's this beautiful Ankole cow with horns going out and then coming into the inside and then going out to the other side, growing out. And that was portrayed on President Museveni of Uganda's farm. And then around him, there's these other cows and bulls, Ankoles with horns everywhere till the background. And they're all crunched together, and this main focus is this cow. It's majestic for me. It's really a work that is striking, unique. It's not an individual standing portrait, it's a group portrait. It's a group of Ankoles together. And I would say reproducing that, it would be a challenge, yes.